And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wheel Talk, the podcast with a guy in a wheelchair and a girl in a wheelchair. Hello, Brittany.
Hello, Fred. Hello, everybody watching. There's 0 people right now. Actually, Jay's here, but now there's 6 people. In my thing, it said 0 people. I'm like, hello, everybody. Nobody's here yet, but now people are here. Hello, everybody.
Yay. Yeah. Let us know if you like the logo in the corner. That was me. I
Yeah.
did that real quick, rustled it up.
Yeah, Fred figures out all this stuff. It's like I have the streaming software and I literally have no idea how to do anything in it. And I'm always just like, how did you do that? He's always like, oh, this is how you did it. So he figures out all the cool stuff on here. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, today we want to talk about how quick time moves. And I would like to know the evolutionary reason behind procrastination. Surely all the procrastinators should be weeded out of the human race by now. Why do I struggle with procrastination? And why is it such a relatable topic? Why do everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a procrastinator too. Yeah. Oh, you get caught on YouTube for hours. Yeah, me too. Why?
Why? Yeah.
Why does life escape us? And then you look through the rearview mirror and you're like, oh, it went so fast. You know, summer's gone. And like, oh, I had so many plans that I didn't follow through with. And you know, now my kids are grown up and they go off to school on their own, you know? So, yeah.
So I actually just listened to a thing on procrastination recently, and it said procrastination only refers to things that you want to do and that you intend to do. So if you are like, you know what, I want to travel to whatever this place sometime, or I want to have this kind of body, but you never actually intend to do it and you don't actually want to do it, it's not actually procrastination. It's only things that you know you want to do and you intend to do and you will do at some point. Procrastination is like putting off things that you're supposed to do or want to do. And I don't know what the reason is. He didn't really talk about it. He did talk about some strategies to not do it, but didn't really talk about the reason for it. But it's a huge problem, and it's something that I've struggled with. If like I could grab a journal that I've had since like it was like a long time ago, maybe even like 8 years ago. And the same shit I've been like writing in it 10 years ago, like 8 years ago, is the same shit I'm writing about now. Like, why am I so afraid to do this thing? And of course, there's things that we do. I mean, yeah, you're buff now. So like you're not putting off working out or, swimming or whatever the things that you don't put off. And generally, I think it's a fear response. I think procrastination for me is a fear response about doing hard things or not knowing how to do something that's part of the process. And I'm just like, oh, I don't feel like figuring that shit out. And I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason for it is, but yeah, like you say, it could be fear. It could be just like putting stuff off. But yeah, I had quite a productive day yesterday. I wrote a to-do list. I like knocked so many things off the to-do list. I went to a little party. Even at the party, right, there was like we had a leaving party for some people that were leaving. The girl who was leaving was on her phone, and I looked over her shoulder, and she was looking at like a Burberry website with like Burberry handbags, and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, this is the party for you. Like, you're not even present. Like, nothing against her, but I was just like,
yeah,
it's like a universal problem that people just get so easily distracted these days, and I think we do have ourselves to blame, but there's also these corporations that make these wildly addictive machines. They're also to blame, it's just for bloody profit, just to feed us advertisements, so we can buy crap online. And you're like, you're degrading the fabric of society. Stop doing it,
I do think it's crazy. Like, speaking of like, not being on phones or whatever, this weekend, a lot of the time, like I have 2 teenagers, they just want to be watching TikTok or whatever. And for them, that's normal. Like, I watched a lot of TV as a kid. So they're like, what's the difference if I'm watching TikTok and you are watching, whatever on TV? But I always say the difference is that we had cable and you didn't just have like instant, like what you wanted to watch. Like, there was a show that was on at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night and you watched it then. And every other time was just like some crap that was on TV. And eventually you'd get bored of whatever talk show you were watching and then go find something else to do. But this weekend, I made a point of not like getting mad at my family for being on their phones, but instead doing other things. So we were like sitting around the campfire because we were camping. And I was like, okay, everybody has to pick a question that they have to ask everybody else. And they were like, why? What? This is dumb. So then I started it with like, what's a goal you're working towards? And what's one challenge that is getting in the way of you doing that goal, and then like what are you going to do about it? And so then everybody answered that. So it made us all understand a little bit about each other, about something we're working towards, so that we could like help each other achieve that goal. And then it like made us stop talking or stop looking at our phones and start talking to each other. And then everybody else had to come up with a question too. And they all did, which was like so surprising, because I was like, they're not going to do this, but they did that. And then we went kayaking, which was awesome, because like you can't have your phones in the water. And we kayaked like across the lake and back, which took at least a couple hours. And then yeah, we were just like, I bought a bow and arrow a couple of weeks ago, because I did archery at that medieval place that I went to, and wanted to have one for the acreage. So then they were all like doing archery, and it ended up being a little bit long for me. It was the right poundage, but it was too long. So then I was like struggling with it, but I still did it a little bit. Yeah, so I was like filling the weekend with stuff, and I was like, it's so much nicer when you're doing stuff rather than just sitting there watching other people do stuff. And I don't know why we get so like sucked into it, because I'm like, there's nothing interesting for me right now. Social media is all just arguing. It's like people making like assumptions about other people and calling people like down for something they believe or whatever. So I'm just like, oh, either that or it's funny stuff. For me, it's like funny dog videos, or like political stuff, or so then I'm just like, I get bored after a while. But yeah, it was so nice not to be on our phones. And I'm like, why can't we do this more often? And I don't know why.
Yeah, you're right. I see. Like recently, I've been watching some stuff on YouTube that was really nourishing and really intriguing. There was this guy who like built a big tunnel under his house, and then built this whole like underground layer. And he was like, every episode was like really fascinating about how he did it. This guy was insanely clever. All the architecture, like and the hard work and all the effort he put into like making this like underground layer under his house, which was really fascinating. And I was like, wow, this is really good. And yet there's other stuff, like, for example, last night, this is something I'm very embarrassed to say, and something I don't do very often. But normally I don't take my phone to bed with me.
Yeah, me either.
But because Chris is away on holiday this week, I was like, oh, come to bed with me, phone. And I was on the reels. And it's so weird, because you're like, oh, well, I don't have time to watch, a normal YouTube video, so I'll just watch a few reels. Dangerous. It was, honestly... I'm so embarrassed to say this. 2 hours. 2 hours. In fact, my phone battery ran out. That's what stopped me compulsively scrolling. Yeah. So I was like, show me another like mindless, it's like brain rot. You have like nourishing content and you have brain rot. And like one of them is actually even more compulsive than the other. And like, it's so engaging. And then you're like, well, there's a whole world out there. But like, there's this device that's just like got this magnetic pull, and I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning, which made me groggy today, and I was angry at myself, and it was this weird feedback loop of like, oh, you idiot, like you spent like you stayed up stupidly late last night for no reason, and now you're groggy today. And so yeah, it was just, I've been just in a really grumpy mood today, just at myself. So it's just not very constructive.
Yeah, I know. We definitely get into that. Recently, remember we talked about the Dream It Do It list that my friend Jordan has. And so I actually made a Dream It Do It list, and I thought it would be fun if we could just do that sort of live on here with everybody watching, and with you too. So I made one, and I was like struggling to put things on it, because I'm like, Jordan puts simple stuff on it and crazy stuff on it. So she like, there's like a local restaurant she wants to eat at. She puts that on there too. So I don't know if I, did it right, or if I have to put more on it or whatever, but I thought I would share what I'm going to put on mine, or what I did put on mine. And then we can maybe share some of the audience members, items too. And then you can share what you would put on yours. But I did it because I was having issues. Like, I always take social media off my phone, and then I put it back on, and this last, like, it's so addictive. Like, it's so annoyingly addictive. And even though I'm like, I'm an adult, I have the ability to like say, no, I don't need to watch that. And even my brain will be like, this is dumb, stop. I'm just like, just one more, like, it's so gross. So anyway, this was my effort to like stop that. And I set out, like, I have like this little book here that I did a thing that I have like my morning routine that I said, like, these are my must do things that I have to do. I have a work routine, like how much a minimum amount of work I'm going to do a day. And then I have this like dream it, do it list right at the beginning so that I can like knock off things. So I'll talk about some of the things that I have on mine, and then you can share some of what you might put on yours and actually do it live. And then everybody in the audience can do it too. So get a piece of paper if you're watching.
Yeah, sounds great.
And actually,
I can hear you. Just keep going.
Yeah, everybody that's watching, get a piece of paper so that you can actually create a dream it, do it list. And it doesn't have to be like big stuff. It doesn't have to be crazy stuff. It just has to be something that you will do, that you intend to do, and that you're going to work towards. Okay, so on my dream it, do it list, can you still hear me, Fred?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay, so on my dream it, do it list I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 things right now. Okay, so number 1 is go to New York because I'm turning 40 in January and I want to go to New York because I love musical theater like so much. I can't even express how much I love musical theater. If somebody's singing and acting at the same time, I'm like, sign me up for all day, every day. I want to write a children's book. I want to speak on a stage, like a big stage that will scare the shit out of me. For me, a big stage right now would be like 1,000 people, but like maybe bigger.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. I want to be in a movie. I've auditioned lots of times. Hasn't happened yet. I want to reach 100,000 followers on YouTube and get a YouTube plaque. I want to get a YouTube plaque. I want to be able to do 10 pull-ups because Fred's making me look bad. I can't even do one.
Incredibly impressive.
You could do like 20. So I'm like, I'll do half of what he can do because he makes it look possible. But you're my inspiration for that one. I want to bike the Canmore to Banff Trail. So if anybody is familiar with Alberta, I live in a province with beautiful mountains, and there's a Canmore and Banff are about, I think like 50, maybe 70 kilometers apart. And there's like a biking path, or you could walk, that goes right along the road, along the mountains. And I want to bike that. I want to be an Airbnb host or like a short-term rental host and have places that I can rent to people with disabilities that are kick-ass and awesome, starting with one of my acreage. I'll tell you guys about that later if you ask about it. I want to volunteer at a senior center because I keep saying, I've said this since my kids were little, I have like a special place in my heart for senior centers because there's a lot of seniors that don't have any family and they're just alone at the holidays and stuff like that. So I want to go like decorate little Christmas trees with them, sing Christmas carols, whatever, just play games with them. I want to start a rehab coaching program, which I'm in the process of right now. So stay tuned for that. I want to have like dinner on a riverboat, which is just like, there's a local one here. It's not great, but I saw Jordan do it in New York and it looked friggin' awesome. So I put that on my thing too. I want to go to Ireland. I know it's probably not super wheelchair accessible, but I've read lots of books from there and I just love the like scenery and stuff. I want to go whale watching. I want to learn to ride a horse. I've been on a waiting list for probably like 3 years for a program for disability, like people with disabilities to learn how to ride a horse. So hopefully I'll get into that soon. I want to plan a Crip cruise. So I talked about this before.
Yeah.
And literally just after I wrote this Dream It, Do It list, I got an email from a company that hosts group trips for influencers. And I didn't even contact them, but they like, it was like a sales pitch or whatever, but it's the coolest company. I checked it out and I was like, oh my God, they might be able to help me plan a Crip cruise. So I have a meeting with them tomorrow. I want to host something that I'm calling the wheelchair games or the rehab games, which is just a bunch of people that have been in wheelchairs for a long time that get to do a bunch of fun crap that showcase all the skills that you could learn as a wheelchair user, and all the people that are like intimidated or have just gone through rehab and aren't really sure how to live life in a wheelchair. They get to come watch this ridiculous shenanigans. And then each like we'll have workshops on like transfers and like, you know, wheelies and stuff like that. So I want to host something like that, which sounds crazy, but I think it would be super fun. And then I want to sing like in like an a cappella quartet at some point in my life, because I think that would be super fun. So those are on my Dream It Do list. I don't know if that's too big or too small, but that's what I've got so far.
Nice.
What do you think?
I think that's great. I think there's loads of cool stuff there. Yeah. I think the horseback riding scares me. I wouldn't want to fall off the horse, but I don't know how you even stay on the horse without like gripping it with your legs. But yeah,
Watch Amberly Schneider. Look her up. She is paralyzed she's like a T10 and she does barrel racing, like competitive barrel racing. She was a competitive rodeo rider before and then she was hurt. And there's a movie called Rock Ride Rodeo or something that her story is featured in, but she is very cool and she still competes. She competes with able-bodied people and she wins all the freaking time.
Nice.
And she has a saddle that has a little bit of a higher back, I think, and they tie her legs into the stirrups. And she just rides with the reins, and it's very cool. So I want to do that.
Nice. Well, that sounds like a great list, Britt.
Thanks.
Yeah, Phil, there's a lot on there. That's good.
Okay, well let's let the audience think of their own because I want you guys to put some in the comments. And then I'm gonna like grill Fred right now to come up with like at least
I got
5.
like a list here that was.
Oh, you do have a list.
Well, kind of. We did this. Where I said that we did that little MDMA ceremony.
Yeah.
We wrote down loads of things. Which again, it's frustrating that you get like this mad inspiration, like, oh yeah, oh my god, these are such good ideas. Let's write them all down. And then you like put this on, like it's called an integration checklist, of all the things that you want to do. And then like we have done a few of the things. But it's a good start. So one of them was to play tennis and paddle. You know the paddle. It's like tennis, like it's in a glass court and the balls can bounce on the walls and stuff.
Oh, we call that pickleball, I think. No, that's not pickleball. No, it's not pickleball.
It's called paddle.
I don't know what we call it here, but it's not that. But I do know like we have the glass things. I can't remember what it's called. But
Pretty sure it's called paddle. But anyway.
Okay.
So I did play tennis, but didn't like it. I think I told you about the chair. They had like a tennis wheelchair.
Yeah.
And it was still outrageously hard. Like tennis is hard. Tennis is one of those sports that's hard when you're not in a wheelchair, And obviously the guys that at an elite level, they make it look quite easy, but it's very, very hard. Even with the tennis wheelchair, I was so excited to try it, and then I was so dismayed because I thought I was going to get loads better at tennis when I'm using the tennis wheelchair, and it was still outrageously hard. Like if someone hits a ball and then you've got to like it's hard enough when you can bloody run, So yeah, tennis wheelchair. I did play it, and that was on my list, but I never played paddle, and I think paddle's better because it's 4-player and it can bounce off the walls, so I think it's probably like a little bit more forgiving.
Okay, so Go Yo-Yo says racquetball. That's what it's called here. It's called racquetball here, like in the glass thing. I don't know why it's called racquetball, but that's what it is. As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, we're talking about the same thing.
We also put like build the community we want to live in because like Chris was talking about like, oh, there isn't much of a community here, and I was like, well, I think there is a community here, like, but like if you want to have a community like where you could raise children, and for example, we should build the community, like as in like actively like make friends and like do things like, for example, host games nights, dinner nights, puzzle nights, magic nights.
Oh my god, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, but we didn't really do that, and it's such a great idea, but we just wrote it on the wall and like stuck it on the wall, and it was like kind of just went under the radar. Like last night I went to a little party, and they said, oh, bring your cards, do some magic tricks, and I did some magic tricks. I really wanted to do like a whole show, but like it was interesting because people were drinking, and like it wasn't necessarily. I did have lots of magic that I brought with me that I could have done. I did end up doing a few bits, but some of the people there were had seen some of the tricks before. Annoyingly, one of my friends was like calling out, like like if you went to a comedy show and just shouted the punchline of a joke. Like, I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, I mean, he was drunk, which was his excuse, but I was like, what? You wouldn't just go and, like, shout, like, ruin the punchline of a joke at a comedy show, would you?
No.
And he's like, oh, is this the one, where, and he just, like, tell you what happens at the end? And that's the point. Like, there's sleight of hand and misdirection, like, and then the surprise is what happens at the end, but you can't just shout out what happens. So I was really quite annoyed at him for doing that. But anyway, my point is, I did some magic last night. It was great. I love doing magic. Another one was like 2 of my friends have just had a kid, and we were like, we want to babysit the kid. So when we gave them like a card for their first birthday, we were like, oh, we'll babysit Kai, like let us know when is convenient and you can have a night to yourself and we'll babysit. And that was great. But they did ask us to babysit the night that Chris went away, and I was like, well, I don't really want to babysit on my own, and also it's not really convenient, but we'll do it another time. So that kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing, we were like, book and attend the Relationship Rising retreat, and I spoke about that last week.
Yeah,
the
you said
place
you
that
are going to do that.
Yeah, and that's booked and paid for, so that's really cool. I'm really excited about that. And then under habits and mindfulness, it's like meditate and journal and stretch in the mornings. I do journal, I don't meditate, and I've been lazy with the stretching. My stretching used to be non-negotiable. Every morning I would stretch like quite a lot before I got out of bed. Now it's like, a little bit of a stretch and then do a bit of journaling, and then yeah, I've got into a habit of really badly. As soon as I finish journaling, I'll go, because I don't sleep with my phone next to my bed, but I'm like, I'll go just check my phone, and then I get bloody sucked in. So
Yeah.
it's a bit shit. We were talking about 15 minutes of dog training with Bonnie every day, and it's actually interesting because since Chris has been away, I've been loving taking Bonnie for a walk. We've got such a bond, and I love having a really well-behaved dog. She's such a babe. She's such a good dog, and I've been doing loads of training with her because I've been here on my own. It's actually been quite nice having Chris not here, just having this time on my own. So yeah, and then there was like purpose and play. Start doing magic in public places, like go to the lake, do magic, go to the bars, do magic. I haven't really followed through with that. Like, there's no really real excuse. I should have done way more magic. Every time you perform magic, you get loads better. I've done, also be a gigging magician. I've done like 5 gigs this summer, which is good. But yeah, definitely kind of good. But like, I definitely could have done more. Like, if I'd have put myself out there, I could have like advertised and stuff. But yeah, didn't do that.
I think that's starting small though. Like, I think that's a win. That's a huge win.
Yeah. Another one was ride a bowhead in Chamonix. And to go wakeboarding as well. So I went wakeboarding a few times once before, and it was really cool. Like one of the, like those things, you try disabled sports and you're like, nah, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. And then I was like, I could definitely do this. This is really fun. Like, but obviously you have to go to a lake and know someone with a boat, or it's not like the sort of thing that you could just, like, for example, riding my bike like down the woods. That's just walking the dog, but I can do that every day. Like, my bike's just on the balcony. Going wakeboarding is something. Riding a bowhead, I found out recently that I could rent one in Chamonix for like very cheap, like €15 a day or something, like really cheap. Way more cheap, way more convenient than buying one. €15 a day. They're like 20 grand to buy, right?
Yeah.
So like €15 a day to hire one is amazing. Anyway, I looked into that. I sent some emails. They said, amazing, just fill out these forms, get back to us. Didn't really follow through with that, but I made a start. I did write about having a short holiday in the UK, which I've booked. Doing some magic in the UK, which will be really fun. But like, just for friends and stuff. And yeah, so like they're sort of things that I've written at the beginning of summer. I followed through with some of them. Not, wishy-washy. I was a bit wishy-washy, to be honest.
Yeah.
So what I really want is more of a strict morning routine, more of a general routine and structure to my days, and also to bloody go follow through with some of these things on my to-do list, and tick them off and be like, this is what I want from my life. I want more social things. Like, I think I didn't say, actually, I said this to someone else. The other day I was invited to a barbecue, and it was kind of random. I went for a haircut. And afterwards, someone was like, there's a barbecue at the lake later. I was like, amazing. When it came time to go to the barbecue, I just really didn't want to go. And I was like, I should go. If I go, I won't regret going. But like getting the motivation to leave the house, even though it was sunny outside, there was no real excuse. I just had to I just didn't want to go. Like, it wasn't like like someone asked me that morning, and then a couple of hours later was the barbecue, but I don't know, I just couldn't bring myself to go, and I'm like, why? Like, I should have done. Like, I regret it in hindsight, but at the time, I genuinely just didn't want to go. I was just happy just to chill out. I'd had a haircut, I took the dog for a walk, I just wanted to like lay on the couch and just have like a little rest. But I had this like pressure of guilt of like, what, like, this is your life, man, you're missing out. Like, this is one of the last days of summer. Go to the lake, show some people some magic, have a barbecue. I didn't go. So yeah, anyway. I'm waffling, but my point is, like, I feel like summer has escaped me, and living in a town like I live in, a very touristy town, it's very obvious when summer ends. You go from like a very, very, very busy, everywhere's thriving, everywhere's open, and then all of a sudden the outdoor swimming pool closed. The opening hours are really short. Like, it's going to close soon. Nobody in town. Like no tourists, and you're like, oh my god, there's a chill in the air, and you're like, fuck, like you go like, oh, it's too hot to go outside. It's so hot, I'm so glad that I've got like a nice cool apartment to stay in. And then just like that, you're like, shit, summer's over.
Yeah. I know we've had a heat wave here, so that's like exactly what's happening to us. We're like, oh, it's so hot. I don't want to go outside. It's like, and then in the wintertime, we're like, I wish it was hot.
Yeah,
You just can't, people complain about too much stuff. This just made me think about like, there are people that make every excuse in the book not to live their life. And some of them
yeah,
don't even make excuses. They just don't try. And they just are content to watch TV every day. They have like a lineup of shows or read books or whatever it is that they do in their daily life. And for many people with disabilities, are less options maybe for adventure. So I'm not like trying to make anybody feel bad who that is your routine, you know what I mean? Because getting out of bed, just brushing your teeth, making a meal, eating food or whatever is sometimes your version of adventure and living, and that is great. But I met this guy when I was at the laundromat because my laundry or my washing machine crapped out, which is never fun. And so I had to take all of these like bags and bags of laundry to the laundromat because we had tons of laundry to do. And the washing machine's not getting delivered till today. But I met this guy there, which is awesome because I'm so noticeable. And he started chatting to me. But this guy is the definition of like not wasting your life. And I was just like, it was in stark contrast to me to people who just don't have a life at all. And I was like, how, like, I always think, how are you like that as one of these people? So this guy, I asked him where he was from and he said, oh, I'm from California. And I'm like, what are you doing at like this tiny little town laundromat? Because I had to go to the next town over to go laundromat because the one here sucks. So he's in this tiny little town laundromat that's like not big at all. I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm a photographer. And I'm like, oh, so like you're here for work? And he's like, yeah, I come up here every year for 2 weeks to film and shoot promo videos for estate homes that are like millions of dollars. So this company hires him to come do these things. And I was like, oh, that's very cool. And then he started talking about where he's done photography. This guy did all the photographs for Jane Goodall. If anybody doesn't know who Jane Goodall watching, she's like a famous biologist that did like studies on apes and like chimps and stuff in Africa for years. Like she like lived with them. And this guy did so much work for her. He lived in Ghana and did all of this like stuff with her for years and years. And he traveled all over the world doing photography. He walked 800 kilometers with his wife over the summer because she wanted to do this walk. It's like a pilgrimage in Spain from this one place to another, 800 kilometers. And all they had on their back was a backpack. And they would
wow,
stop at like towns and stuff and they would stay in hotels or whatever. But every day they had to get from where they were to where they were going on foot. And I'm just like, people like that are just like so crazy. He's a mountaineer, so he climbs mountains and does all these crazy hikes. And it's just like, I'm like, you have done more in your lifetime than most people could ever accomplish in like 15 lifetimes. And I'm just like, how do you end up being like that? How are you like that? Who isn't scared shitless to climb a mountain or walk 800 kilometers or, go into the whatever jungles of Africa and like film animals that are wild animals? And like, anyway, so I just thought that was so cool. And that was part of the reason too that like inspired me to do the Dream It Duelist, because he was like calling me an inspiration. I'm like, dude, don't
yeah.
even get me started. I'm like, I am not an inspiration. I'm like, you are the coolest person ever. And yeah, just the neatest thing. So you meet people like that aren't afraid at all to just live their life and do it unapologetically and just are so successful at it. And then other people that, are just content to watch TV. And I'm like, I want to be somewhere in between. I don't know whether I'm going to go do all that stuff, but I did look at his pictures from the 800-kilometer pilgrimage and a lot of it looked flat. So I like messaged him. He hasn't messaged me back yet. But I was like, are there places that are wheelchair friendly? Because if there's part of that pilgrimage that is like remotely like doable, I want to put that on my Dream It Do list to be able to say I wheeled, like 400 kilometers or something. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah. Well, when I went to contact this Access Mont Blanc in Chamonix, they have another bike called a fat bike. again, it's like a bowhead, very similar, but apparently it's more a lot easier because apparently the bowhead's like really hard to ride. Like what you have to get used to it. Like you can tip it over, for example, because it's got the
Yeah.
articulation. Anyway, I digress. The fat bike is something that is very popular, and you can go a lot further in it. Like it's more stable. Like it's not so much for like flying downhill really fast, but it's like a very, very cool bike. And it actually appealed to me a lot more. And I thought, like, with one of those, like, you could go almost anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
it looked really, really accessible. Very, very cool. So, yeah, I mean, there are so many things to do. But I wanted to pick up on something because ultimately in life you just want to be content, right?
Yeah.
I feel guilty for not doing stuff that I think that I should be doing. But when I didn't want to go to that barbecue, I did not want to go to the barbecue. Yeah, I was watching YouTube, but I was watching something really engaging on YouTube and it was really filling me up and I was quite happy to just chill out and again watch TV, right? I was content doing that. I want to be somewhere in between as well. Like I don't mind watching stuff, and if it's nourishing me and it's really entertaining, and it's like there's a lot of production effort in it. It's like it's not like reading a book, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's not skimming
Yeah.
reels, is it? It's not. It's,
Yeah.
there's different types of content, and I the thing is like there's something about doing mad things like
Yeah.
that, you know, and going on holiday. But like when last time I was on holiday, do you remember like my videos? I was like, you know what? It's really exciting to plan holidays and it's really exciting to look back on holidays. But sometimes holidays are quite stressful.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't wait to get home from your holiday just to chill out. So there is this, I'm torn between like things that I think I ought to do, you know, and it's amazing to have a to-do list and want to do all these things. But actually the reality of doing them sometimes is just, you know, I don't know, like I want to be content, you know, and if I'm content
Yeah.
like doing less, then that's valid, you know.
I think that there's lots to be said about that, and I think that that's important because especially as I age, and with the social media, I get swept into other people's dreams a lot,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's very exhausting and very like I get where I feel bad about myself when I'm not doing all these things, and so I've now strategically at least, or I'm trying to curate a social media like uh, group or whatever that I'm following that is aligned with the things that I love and the places that I want to go. Some people are very different than me and I would never do that, but I know that and I'm content to watch them do their stuff with awe and like entertainment. Like you say, if you're something's filling you up and you know that's not something I could do or would ever do, I love watching somebody else do it because there's some people that like won't watch people do things that are like, you know, able-bodied because it makes them sad. But I love watching other people use their bodies in ways that I wish I could. So
Hmm.
certain people that I follow are just doing that. And I know I'm never going to do it, but I love watching them do it. But like for a lot of years, I would like watch these people that were like bazillionaires and that had huge companies and they wanted all these staff and they were teaching people how to scale and scale and scale and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, I want to be like a big business owner. And then as I like, you know, settled into like what I really want, I'm like, I do not want a bunch of employees. I do not want a big business. I want to be able to like have time and location freedom with whatever business that I'm building. I want to help people. I want to like change the face of rehab like in North America and make it more engaging and have people be able to connect with people that are paralyzed and not just with OTs and all that stuff. So I'm like, I want to do something really fulfilling, but I don't want to be tied to like, you know, having to like have payroll and like all these crazy things. So I stopped following people like that because I'm like, that is horrible to me. That sounds stressful and terrible. And then other people that like want to have like jets and vacation homes and like all these things. And I'm just like, that's not me either. Like, would it be cool to be able to travel somewhere and have like a home? Yeah, but those are like you would pick those like sparingly and pick them in places that you loved and all of that stuff. But I'm not one of those people that's going to be like, I have a house in every country kind of thing. Like that's just not me. Um, so yeah, now I follow people that have like more simple, minimalistic lives and they just want genuine human connection because that's the most important thing to me. Cause like this weekend, we were like literally camping at our acreage. It's not fancy. And we went kayaking on blow up kayaks and we had hot dogs and, you know, hamburgers and stuff like that. Like it wasn't like some crazy thing, but it was so fulfilling to me just to be out in nature and to be spending time with my family in the outdoors, which is like something that I think I miss a lot of in the wintertime because it's really the winter's long here and there's lots of snow and stuff. So in the summertime, I cherish the sun. if it's out, I'm like, I want to be in it kind of thing. So yeah, I think cultivating your social media following or people that you follow in a way that aligns with your values and that makes you feel good about yourself is really important, because I think if you're going to consume something, it shouldn't pull you into other people's dreams, because all that does is make you feel like you're not where you should be, even though you don't even want that thing.
Yeah, you make such a good point there. Like a really, really good point. I have to agree with you. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I say, it's there are so many things that I like. Like I have the benefit of being able-bodied for 36 years, and of those 36 years, I spent 10 of those years chasing my dreams, snowboarding every day. I was a adrenaline junkie. I was living life to the fullest. I was one of those guys that would do crazy shit. That's how I ended up in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? And I don't regret that at all. Like, and when I transitioned into my new life as a paraplegic, I kind of made peace with putting that behind me. I didn't want to do like adaptive skiing. I don't enjoy it. Like it's not nowhere near the same as snowboarding. It's rigid. Like the thing, it's got a suspension, but it's not the same as your knees, right?
It's hard.
Yeah, my back is already like fused together with steel rods. It was uncomfortable. It was cold. I don't like the cold. And yeah, geographically, I'm located perfect for skiing, right? But I just don't like it. So I don't like it. So I've put a lot of those things behind me, and I'm happy. I don't want to be forced to do things like out of my comfort zone just for the sake of it. But I like challenging myself. I don't. I did spend a lot of time just like accepting my disability. Like, oh yeah, it's okay. I mean, I could be content with less, and I like the fact that I can be content with less. I think that's a superpower on its own. But there's a certain point where you're like, I'm not growing. I'm not moving. Like, the theme of the last few podcasts is that I feel small. I feel like I'm destined for more. I've got untapped potential, which is why the things coming up in my life are really exciting for me. Like the croupier training starts next week. I'm not 100% sure I'll be able to come to the podcast. You might have to get Brian on. Sure. So yeah, croupier training starts next week. I've been cramming lots of French lessons in. I had a French lesson yesterday, a French lesson today. I've got a French lesson on Thursday. I've been listening to lots of things in French. I will be putting myself outside of my comfort zone soon. I've got a holiday in the UK coming up. I've got loads of exciting plans, which are really, really good. Like, it's awesome to have things to look forward to. But if I'm completely honest, looking back on this summer, I just see a lot of missed opportunities. Like a lot of things on this list right here that I didn't do. A lot of time spent on my phone, which I regret. And like one of these things that I've mentioned before, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be like, my biggest regret on my deathbed will be I looked at my phone too much. I didn't squeeze all the juice out of my life that I could have done. It's unfortunate. It's an all too common problem.
I think one of the things that's so important to realize is that life is intentional, has to be intentional, or or it just will happen to you. Like you will get what you get if you just let it happen. And not that everything you're going to get is bad, but if you're not intentional about it, it's really hard to make things happen. Because if I'm intentional about my day and I have a lot of shit to get done, I always get that shit done. There is never a time that I'm like, I'm going on holidays and I have to wash clothes and pack and, do this or that and get this done. And I always do it. I always do it when I have a time crunch and there's something that is compelling me to get it done. But yeah, I won't if I don't have something. I think FOMO is a real important thing in my life. If I'm to be honest with you guys, because FOMO actually keeps me from not doing the things that I'm scared of. So like if I have somebody that's ahead of me doing it, and I want to join that group, like my friend Bean she does public speaking. I'm like, I have serious FOMO about that. So I'm like, she is pushing me, like she's not actually pushing me, but just seeing her is pushing me to like do the thing just because I have FOMO. So sometimes it actually is like, it's like important, I think. But there's lots of like engagement in the comments. So I want to like,
I was thinking there was some really lovely stuff in the comments. Maybe we could address some of them. Yeah.
So this one, so good. If you, I'll let you go.
No, go on. You go.
Okay. So what's your top 3 Broadway shows you want to see? You know what? I don't even know at this point. There's so many. Like I've seen a couple, like Phantom of the Opera. I've seen a couple of times here, just like Broadway across Canada. I've seen like Jersey Boys, but Jamie, my daughter, wants to see Hamilton. There's a new one, and I can't remember the name of it, but Jordan went to it, and it's all modern music. So I want to go see that one. But there's like a whole bunch. The Lion King, like there's so many to see. So yeah, I can't even really pick a top 3. But if you guys have suggestions, put it in the comments.
On the subject of the Lion King, I've watched the Lion King maybe 5 times this week in French. I just because I watched a YouTube video of like, if you watch the same movie over and over again in French, one that you're familiar with and it like really sinks in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also, it's one of my favorite movies, and it's so great.
Me too.
Like it's like
I love Disney music. It's like one of my favorite things.
Oh.
And The Lion King is like, Joe and I, we were very different ages when The Lion King came out, because I was probably like 7 and he was like, and what, like 14 or something like that, 15. But we both love the music, so we like sing it in the car. A couple people doing cool things this summer, cross swimming off of my bingo list this weekend. That's awesome. Have you been swimming before, or was this like a first time thing? Tell me in the comments, because I'm curious about that. I did competitive horseback riding for years, Sarah says. Are you paralyzed, Sarah? Now I'm curious about that. There's so much good stuff in the comments.
Jay says, if I could go back before my injury, there's so much I would do. That's the thing. Like I just said it. Like there was so much that I did before my. Oh, I've got mud on my face from my dog walk. Sorry, yeah. There's so much I did before my injury. Like that's why I don't feel the need to like go out and chase those thrills anymore. Like I just want. I want like there's lots of things that I can do. Like for example, I wanted to start a family. I'm really excited to do that. I took the most. Well, Chris is on holiday. She sent me the most adorable picture recently. I got it as a
beautiful
background on my
picture.
phone.
That
Stunning. Look at her with a baby.
Gorgeous.
Oh, what a babe.
That is whatever those colors are. That's her color. Tell her that.
Yeah.
White and yellow and whatever that was.
So I'm manifesting. You know, this is what I want. But yeah, there you go.
They're pretty
if she
cool.
looks that good, like after having a baby that young, like wow, bravo. But normally, like new mums, you know, they've gone through a lot. So
yeah. Somebody says, Go Yogo says, my wife wrote a musical on Hulu. That's cool. I don't think we have Hulu up here, so I'm sad I can't watch it. Called Up Here. High concept, 8 episodes. Didn't get picked up a second season, but amazing experience. That is super cool. Like that. If that's not a bucket list item, I don't know what is. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Now I'm so curious.
So just to get this straight, Sarah, you did the competitive horseback riding while paralyzed from the waist down. That's pretty cool. I mean, if that's true, that would be awesome. Emmanuel Shiu, I competed in table tennis, and that's one of the sports that's great for you physically and mentally. You can also play at your local club with able-bodied people. Yeah, I play table tennis with my able-bodied friends occasionally. They're not allowed to smash it. Like that's the rule. Like it's just like little shots. If they go whack, I'm like, well, come on, man. Like that, I'm not going to return that, am I? So yeah, we play, but it's or they have to sit down. That's actually they get a chair and they sit at the other end of the table, and then we play sat down, and then they're like, oh wow, yeah, this is actually like quite different.
I still think it's pretty hard, but like I think you have to practice. Like I'm terrible at anything like that. I'm absolutely trying wheelchair rugby when my disability gets to the point where I need a wheelchair. I have a lot of friends who play wheelchair rugby. It is a tough friggin' sport. I mean, when you see quadriplegics banging into each other and all that stuff, it seems very cool.
You got any advice of what I should do before I need a wheelchair? That's a good one. I mean, to be honest, it needs a lot of context. I don't know what your disability is and like when you're going to need a wheelchair or why you would need a wheelchair. But if I had to say, you know, I think, to be honest, I know this is going to sound really silly, but I did everything I wanted to do really before I was in a wheelchair, because I think the wheelchair came at the right time for me. You know what I mean? That as weird as that sounds, I lived a very, very full life, and now I get to live the rest of it from a different perspective, which is not that bad. But good question. Do you have an answer for that?
I would say just don't take the things for granted that you currently have the ability to do that your wheelchair might take away the ability to do. So I would just like enjoy, even if it's painful, try and have that gratitude for the things that you're doing, because obviously you have a degenerative something that is gonna make you be able, or make you have to use a wheelchair at some point. And so I'm assuming that you do it with some pain and whatever. So I would say just like stick to the gratitude and be like, you know what, this might be the last time, because you never really know when something is the last time that you're gonna do something. And yeah, just enjoy it like it's your last time every time, because yeah, obviously you're gonna have some things you're not gonna be able to do later on. That would be my
That's
advice.
a very, very good point. I mean, I'm pretty sure that must be like, you could reframe that as such a gift,
Yeah.
because everyone lives life like, oh, oh, maybe I wasted, I'll do it next summer, whereas you're like, fuck, next summer I might be in a wheelchair, or, I've
Yeah.
only got how many summers left, just like, so you should be even more keen to like get this dream it, do it list and like knock it all off before you end up in a wheelchair. But again, there's so many different variables, so like I don't know what your state of but yeah, I mean, I would definitely reframe that as like, because you said your friend who has the kid Jordan, right?
Yeah.
They have like they frame that as a gift, right? Like,
They do. They
yeah.
frame it as a gift that like the urgency creates opportunity, I guess, is kind of how they frame it, is that they don't wait. They don't wait to do all the things that they want to do, big or
Mm.
small. So yeah. I like this comment. Things you can do as a paraplegic: jet skiing, ATV riding, snowmobiling, surfing, laying down on the board, just to name a few. There's lots of things that you can do as a paraplegic. I think as a quadriplegic, things get a little bit harder and more complicated, and obviously safety is more of an issue, just in terms of making sure you can balance and all of that stuff. But there's still lots of things that you can do. So I feel like there's things that you can find that are joyful no matter what your level of disability. And it's just about getting out there, putting yourself out there, because I would never have found any of the wheelchair sports I found without knowing people, because it's not like common knowledge. Like my friend is a competitive water skier, and I would never have known how to find that sport
Mm.
had she not. I don't want to try it because I'm terrified of water, just in case anybody's wondering about that. But she loves it, and she just knew somebody who knew somebody that knew a coach. And then once you get to like the high level, like Paralympic sort of, Team Canada trainings, then you're like, you're in the group, and she's very good at it, so she went really far. But so many things you can do.
Yeah. Have you
Just
tried
like
wake? Have
oh,
you
go
tried
ahead.
wakeboarding?
No, I don't want to. I'm scared. I hate having my head underwater. I can't hold my breath for very long.
Mm.
So I'm always scared to like go under the water. Like, what's gonna happen if somebody doesn't come get me out?
You can swim though, right?
Sort of. Not great.
Well, number one, you have a life jacket on, so you'll float.
True.
And in my experience, when you bail, like you just come out of the, like
Oh,
you don't
just
like, it
pop
doesn't
up.
like, yeah, it won't, yeah,
Oh, you just
yeah.
pop up. Okay, well, maybe. I know that like my friend wants me to try it, and maybe I will. But yeah, there's certain things that I'm like,
It's
is that
quite
something I really
physically
want to do?
demanding. Like you have to hold on to the rope. Like I don't know. Oh, sorry, I was just about to say I don't know if you tried it before your accident, but obviously not. But
No,
like
I never
it's
tried
quite
it.
physically demanding. Like you've got to hold on to the rope, and like it pulls you. So like after,
Yeah.
like the day after, like your back muscles are really sore because you're like bracing.
Yeah.
Um, but I used to love it before my accident. But yeah, after the time I tried it, it was really fun. I was like, "Whoa, I'm doing it! I'm doing it!" I really wanted to hit some of the obstacles, like you get like little jumps and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know that they would have frowned upon it, and also time was running out because there was so much time where I kept bailing just to actually get the balance right.
Yeah.
I hadn't anticipated how far you had to lean forward. It was quite counterintuitive. I thought you had to lean back, to keep
Hmm.
the front out, but it was like bung, 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 bung. And as soon as I started leaning
Oh.
forward, it like balanced out, and I was like, oh, I've got it, woohoo! And then yeah, so I would love to do that again. To be honest, it's on my list, but I have again. There's so many things. Do you know what? I've said this before, right? What I would love to do is be involved in the disability community. Like, for example, like riding a bowhead. It sounds great, but like it's a ball ache. I'd have to drive to Chamonix, rent it for the day, go out, return it, drive back to Chamonix. It's a long, long day. Logistically, very long. If I
Yeah.
worked, for example, at a bike park, with the disability crew, or like an adaptive sports company, you know, like we do all these fun sports and it would be my bloody job to do that, and I'd hang out with
Yeah.
other people with disabilities. That would be like the absolute dream. I know like I'm doing croupier training and that's going to be outside my comfort zone, but even that I don't think it's like my real dream job. Like I would love a job in the disability community, like in the adaptive sports like stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
would be so accessible, and you'd get to know everybody, and yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be cool.
I have a friend that does that. She is like, she was hurt in motocross, which is like dirt biking. And she now is basically like a trainer at an adaptive sports place. And she gives workshops on how to use the bikes, and she goes on retreats, and like she does lots of cool stuff, but it's her job. She gets paid to do it now. And it all just happened because she saved up to get a bike, got really good at it, and then ended up getting the attention of all of these organizations that are like, dude, you need to come coach and train other people how to do this stuff. It's very cool. So I think that would be a cool dream job to have.
Oh, here we go. We got some more context now. I've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so my body parts aren't properly attached, so walking and standing gets increasingly harder and more pain over time. I've got a few friends with that. They're all girls. I don't really know that much about it. Like one of them is a personal trainer, and she's quite strong, but her bones dislocate a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know too much about that. But yeah, I mean, I would just try and live your life as much as you can before. Because my friend Katie, she says the same. She's like, oh, I might end up in a wheelchair one day, even though she looks like she's a personal trainer. She's very fit. She's very, very active.
Yeah.
But I did see one time her boyfriend was like carrying her like across a field because she couldn't walk for
Yeah.
whatever reason. I mean, I don't know too much about it, but sometimes it flares up, it gets worse. Sometimes you don't look disabled at all. So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know that much.
I love that people are chatting back and forth. Somebody asked Greg, who was talking about all the things you could do in a wheelchair, what his favorite thing was. And he said probably ATV riding, because I was able to buy a four-wheel drive ATV and go riding with able-bodied friends a lot. I think that is a very cool thing. There's some things that give you freedom that allow you to basically do the exact same thing that your able-bodied friends are doing in the exact same way. And that's one thing that ATVing definitely offers, is like you're not in an adaptive thing. You're just doing the thing that everybody else is doing. Which I think is super cool. I actually drove a quad for the first time maybe like a month ago, and it was pretty fun. I was nervous going up hills, but you know, it was still fun. I think I'll get better at it the more I ride, because we bought a quad recently. So yeah, I love that,
They
and I love. Oh, go
they
ahead.
scare me. They scare me. I was on one before my accident, and I flipped it, and I was like, that is. I've seen so many accidents online
Mhm.
of like people getting crushed from them, and because they flip over so easy, I'm like, Jesus, you could easily get a spinal cord injury from flipping over.
Yeah.
Because yeah, obviously you would take it easier, and it depends. Like also my bike is a trike, so it's not the same, but that tips over quite easily, as you
Yeah.
know. I tipped it over recently, but yeah, I wouldn't like a big heavy machine, and if it landed on you and I don't know, like the exhaust was just like burning your skin or searing your leg and like cooking it while you're like, I can't get it off because I can't bloody move. Anyway,
Ah.
that's just like I'm not really a worst case scenario thinker, but like for some reason when it comes to four wheelers, I'm like,
Yeah.
it just puts me off.
They do scare me, and I do know a lot of people that have been paralyzed on them. My friend, he was paralyzed on it, and then he was riding it after, and he actually burnt right to the bone on them. To like when he was just riding and didn't know because he can't feel anything, and both ankles were just burnt to the
No,
bone. And he was like, "What's that smell?" And his buddy's like, "It
no.
smells like cooking meat or something." And then they both looked down, and it was like right to the bone. And then he was like, "We should probably go to the hospital." And then he was like, it's cauterized. Let's just finish quadding and I'll do it later. And he went later, and the doctor was like, yeah, it's totally cauterized. Like you have a massive burn, but it's not infected. But yeah, so now he's like really careful. And then Bob, who's the motorcyclist that I interviewed on here, who is from Australia that travels all around, he's burnt his leg like 3 times on the exhaust, and he burnt it when he was in Canada again because he missed a transfer and he kind of fell in between his wheelchair and the bike, and he couldn't get back off right away, so his leg was just sitting on the exhaust. So he had got a third degree burn again, and I was just like, dude, you have to be careful on those things specifically. So yes, I am really nervous on them and around them, especially like now that like my kids are old enough to kind of drive them. But a lot of the like tippiness you have to be able to throw like counterbalance with your weight. So it's really important that you have some like training on like when you're going up a hill and all of that stuff, what to do with your weight. But yeah, scary stuff.
That is terrifying. The thing that you just said, like I said, I'm not like a worst case scenario thinker. I know that sometimes you're guilty of that, but like I'm like quite like, oh yeah, it's fine. But like that story you just told was awful, awful. That wouldn't
Oh,
happen. That wouldn't happen to me because I have an incomplete injury. Number one, I would feel it immediately, and my legs would spasm so badly. Which
yeah.
thank the Lord, I would. I don't know why I said thank the Lord. It's something that's not normally I say. Praise the Lord, but yeah. Yeah, I would feel it. But oh my god, the smell! He smelt it first. Like, what is that? Barbecue? Is that someone cooking chicken? Oh yeah, it's just
Oh,
my ankles. Oh my god, that's gross.
oh, you know what? I have another story from a friend who's paralyzed, and she doesn't have spasms either, which is like crazy because I would spasm like crazy. She was in the bath and she was like really cold, and the water wasn't warming up fast enough. She's just turned it on pure hot, and she laid back, and she didn't know her foot was under the pure hot water until her skin started floating up to her face. And she was like, "What is that?" And it was like peeling off her skin. And again, I was like, "How does this happen to you?" I'm like, "You just
Oh,
turned the water on hot and didn't like worry about where your foot was? Like, what's happening?" So I have a couple of friends that have had some seriously bad shit happen to them from hot stuff. So be careful.
that is
Ugh,
awful.
I
That is
know.
so gross. Oh my god. Yeah. So as much as I complain about my spasms, I'm very, very, very,
Me
very, very
too.
grateful for like the sensation I have and the spasms. That would drive me like when I'm in the shower. Sometimes I do cold. Like yeah, I don't know if you ever do
Yeah.
that. Like you go really cold at the end. If I spray
Yeah.
it on my legs, they're like, ugh! They hate it. But I think it's kind of funny. Yeah, sometimes I do it. But yeah, like cold, hot, any sort of change in temperature, like my legs let me know immediately, and yeah,
Yeah.
I'm grateful. Like sometimes it is such a ball ache having legs that move involuntarily, especially with like the tightness, the muscle tightness, and the cramping up. But oh my god, way preferable to like your skin falling off and being like, oh, what is that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's my foot just melted. Yeah, yeah. Oh, gross.
I know 100%. Yeah, I'm so glad. She's had quite a few pressure sores and things too because she doesn't ever know if she's, sitting on something or something is like hurting on her butt. And I'm so thankful for that. Like I have this, it's not even really a pressure sore. It's just like a mark on my butt that I'm watching because it hasn't turned into a pressure sore, but I knew it right away because my leg was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, something's
Mm-hmm.
wrong. And so I was like, something is wrong. So I went and checked my butt and I was like, oh, yep, there's a little spot there. So now I'm like watching. There's another win for somebody that I just read. Got a public garden to build accessible raised beds in Seattle. Beacon Food Forest. That's cool. I love when you contact like your community or your local municipal government or something, and it's like no problem for them to change something. Like I've had
Mm.
such good experiences in the community I live in, going places and being like, I want to be a part of this, and they're like, yeah, let's make it happen. And I'm like, oh, there's no arguing, and they're just like, nope, we're gonna what would just tell me what you need, give us some quotes, we'll make it happen. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Amazing.
Whereas that's not normal. So I think that that's like amazing. If you live in a community that is just really up for whatever, I think that's so great. Here's another great one. I was gifted a race car driving experience before my injury. After my injury in rehab, I still did the race car experience as a passenger, and it was awesome. I love that. That's a great one.
Do you know what? I misread that earlier, and I read I was a gifted race car driver before my injury, and I was like, oh, that's humble.
That's really funny. I want to see if there's anything.
Jay Willie is back. Everything you said about Ayla's Danlos is absolutely correct, and my experience is a lot like that of your friend, except I'm not as fit as her. 90% of people with Ayla's Danlos are female.
Really?
Yeah, that's all the people I know are yeah, so that makes sense.
Anything else here? No, I think that's it. That was like this one's been like really engaging. I really like it when the audience
Yeah, me too.
is talking, and we try our best to like answer your comments and stuff. Sometimes it's just hard to read and listen at the same time.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, no, this was really cool. I have yeah, I can't stay on much longer because the washing machine is getting delivered soon, so I don't want to not hear the door. And I'll like just mention that like one of the issues that I'm having every time I get something delivered that goes downstairs is I have a lift on my stairs, like the stair lift, and it makes my staircase really skinny. And so now I'm don't know what they're gonna do to get the washer and dryer up and down the stairs when my lift is like in the way. And it always feels so bad because like when my hot water tank came and they were trying to get it downstairs, they were just like, I don't know how we're going to get by this lift. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. And I was like, trying to figure out if we could take the seat off. And it was just a really awkward like thing. So now I'm really, really, really nervous about how these people are going to get the washer and dryer down the stairs with my lift in the way. Yeah. So I'm like, it's one of those things about being paralyzed that's annoying, especially living in a house that has a lift that goes down the stairs. Because my stairwell is already skinny, and I'm just like, oh, this sucks so bad.
They'll figure it out. I'm sure.
I'm sure they will, but I'm always afraid that like somebody's gonna like. I'm like somebody's gonna. My worst case scenario is that they try and like lift it over my lift, and somebody drops a washing machine on a human, and then I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I'm sure they'll figure it out, but yeah. So I'm worried about that. Happy to have a new washing machine, and I got a new dryer too because I just got a set, but.
Before we go, I've met quite a few interesting people at the laundromat as well. I made a YouTube video about some woman I met, and she was so interesting. And like, it was really interesting. While we're waiting, we got into such a conversation. We ended up having a hug at the end. They were like, "Oh, it's really nice to meet you. Yeah, really nice to meet you too." I can't remember what we spoke about now, but it was very, very funny. Like, yeah. Anyway,
laundromats are very, very good places to meet people. Some are good, some are not. There was a lady at this one. She was like an old lady, and old, like plenty of old people are wonderful, and then some old people are just rude. Like they are like think the world owes them something because they made it 90 years through the world and they don't owe anybody respect anymore. So she shows up and she says to the guy I'm talking to, she just walks in, drops her bags, and she goes, "Well, I don't know how to use any of these things." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "Well, aren't you going to show me?" And that was literally how she said it. She didn't say like, "Hi, I've never been here before. Would somebody mind showing me how to use these things?" She was just like, "Well, I don't know how to use these things. Are you going to show me?" And he was like, I guess I should show you. It was crazy.
Did he work there? Did he work there?
No.
Oh, some people.
No, she was, there was, she was just crazy. And then my laundry was in one of the machines, and me and Jamie were getting it out of two of the other ones and like going over there to get our other ones out. And she goes, "Are these yours? I need this machine." And I'm like, "Well, dude, my clothes are in there. I'm coming. Like, you don't need to talk like that." She was rude. So I met an awesome guy, and then I met a really grumpy old lady that was just an asshole. Yeah.
Sarah says, "Some lady tried to give me her kid at a laundromat. I was 9.
That really
needs
funny.
More context. Anyway, before we go, should we do a magic trick? I said that
I've
been struggling to find magic tricks that can be done virtually. You know what I mean? Because you know, a lot of them involve, you know, sleight of hand and stuff like, you know, in person. But I can do this. I've actually done this one on the podcast before, but I did it to Brian, so you haven't seen it yet. So some viewers might recognize it. But anyway, my point is, right, so I've got, so I found, oh, can you see? I found a old school food court, right, which still had like the loyalty cards from... Like, like you remember these, right? So they had these, right? So what I'm going to do, right, is that, look, I'll check this out. I'm going to write my name here. Can you see it?
Yeah.
And if you were here, I would get you to write your name right here, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to write it for you. Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just make sure those are nice and dry. And look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip them in half.
Okay.
Like this. And then, do you remember when I said to you that magic is all about, for me, is about connection, right?
Yeah.
So look, check this out. I'm going to try and, look, if you watch very, very
No
carefully.
way.
Look, it kind of looks a lot like they're stuck together, right? So look,
No
you can see
way.
now that they are
What?
completely
What?
stuck together.
That was cool. I want to be like, what is it? It looks like it's like perforated, like it's actually stuck together. That is
So
wow.
like to get it apart, you have to rip it.
What? I don't
Yeah,
get
look.
that. That is crazy. That is amazing. Okay, that one might be my favorite one. I don't know how you did that. They were like entirely separate. What? That was a good
Yay.
one. And you said you didn't have a magic trick, so I'm even like happier that you did that. That's cool.
Because technically I've done this one on the podcast before. I did it with Brian, and but you didn't see it, so it's a new one for
Oh,
you. But some
yeah.
people might not recognize it. In fact, there's actually loads of people in the comments that are watching right now that I definitely didn't see it, so that would be a first for a lot
Yeah.
of people. I'm sure Jim's seen it before. But anyway, there you go, magic. I'm really glad you enjoyed that. It's a beautiful trick. It's one of my favorite ones to do. It's such a great effect. It's
Yeah.
you don't really see it coming, and then you're like, what the hell? And it's a great souvenir. I love giving it to people. Like, and that's just, that I do like a little patter normally about like magic is about connection, and now you and I are connected, and now you get to keep this as a souvenir. And they're like, what the hell? And they just walk away. They're like, what the, like, I don't get it. And it's beautiful. I really
Yeah.
like that one. It's
I
awesome.
love that. That was a good magic trick. I'm gonna challenge everybody that's watching right here at the end to go and do a dream it, do it list. And if you want, you can email me some of the things that are on it. You can email empoweredpair@gmail.com because I would love to read some of the things that you have dreams to do or goals you have. But yeah, go do it. It's a fun exercise because it makes you not only think about the things that you actually want to do, but then you get like your brain can start to think about how you might actually accomplish that. And I think that's the magic, right? Is finding out the things that are the scariest and then figuring out ways to accomplish them. And that's how you build confidence. And I think that's a wonderful thing. So go and do it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Just before we go, I was thinking about how the brain is like a pattern recognition machine, like learning a language,
Yeah.
all these sort of things. I was looking for a new tire recently for my bike,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I kept seeing tires, and I was like, oh yeah, because I've been looking at tires online. So it's really interesting. Like the more you like look at like the things that you want, the more like your brain starts to recognize these things, and like the more you can sort of like bring them closer to existence. And I used to think that was a
Yeah.
bit not actually, I used to really believe it, and then I thought it was nonsense, and now I'm starting to believe it again. I don't know why I went through this big skeptical
Yeah.
phase in my life, but I'm coming out the other side.
I do
Believe it.
believe it. Yeah. And I do think the universe, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, I believe in the universe and just energy. And when you speak some energy out into the universe, I think that connects with whatever energy that's going to help you get that thing. And
Mm.
so, like I said, I have been saying this Crypt Cruise thing for like probably like 2 months to people in different conversations. And then this like company contacted me, and I'm really hoping that it's going to be a way that I can create this group trip for a bunch of people in wheelchairs. And I hope that like subscribers, whoever in wheelchairs will go, and we can have just like this awesome party on a cruise ship. And that would be so fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, speak things into the universe that you want to happen, because energy will collide or whatever, and it'll come back to you with whatever you need in order to get done.
Another thing I really want to put on my dream it do it list is to visit you in Canada. I think it would be amazing.
You should come. It would be, I don't know
Definitely
whether it
not
would
in
be
the
better.
winter.
No, and I don't know whether it would be better to come here or it would be better for us to go to Europe, because Canada's awesome. It really is. But I think Europe has more to see. We have cool mountains though.
I
But
think
you
it's
you
like
live in the mountains.
you got coming with a whole family, like I could just come
Yeah.
over. It'd be, I don't know. I would love to visit you. I'd love to do a North America trip. I think yeah, something I thought of, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then like, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know, that sounds expensive. You're like, sometimes your brain talks you out of it, but like I want to talk myself into these things, So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, if we get this thing built at our acreage, then we'll have a whole house for you to stay at that's wheelchair accessible.
excellent. Let's
Yeah.
will it into existence.
Let's will it into existence. Okay, go dream your dreams, everybody. We'll see you next
See
time.
you later. See you next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.